Good morning and welcome to the start of another reading, rambling, and real life vlog. Today is Monday, June the 22nd, and I escaped the office for a few minutes to meet the treasurer at the bank to do some stuff. So yeah, I'm just waiting for her to show up. And so I thought I would check in and let you know what book I started this morning. So I have started my Booktuber recommendation pick that you guys requested. And so I started When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. I've got it on audio and I have it on my Kindle. I have requested the physical copy from the library, so we'll see. I am buddy reading this with Bethany from Bethany Brings Books, and so we'll see how far we get. I've only listened to the first chapter so far, and I'm already like, I don't know about this, where she says, like, you know, she knows about the time crossing, Spanish, she knows what happens in the history in her 1700 timeline because of her 1914 timeline. So that's a little bit weird, but she can't adjust history and can't research into it. And then finding out like about her mom, 2 timelines before she decided which one to stay in the 21 when she turned 21. I don't know, this is just weird to me. So that's the book I started. I will let you know my thoughts once I get a little bit further in. It is Monday evening now, and I had planned to film my TBR game, but I just don't feel like it. I did get a video uploaded for tomorrow, and I got my Wednesday video uploaded for Wednesday, obviously. Tuesday. So I have videos going up Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I'm planning on getting my TBR game uploaded for Saturday. But I have to film it. But I mean, that's a few days away. I have a little bit of time. And I just didn't feel like doing it tonight. I did change in prep because I didn't really want to do it in the shirt I was in. So then I put this one on, but it is short sleeves. Somewhere there's a sleeve. And I'm sitting in the basement and I was chilly and I'm like, I gotta get my sweater. So I've been busy doing computer work and now I want to sit down and read, and I am reading When the Day Comes. I've gotten through 3 chapters so far, 2 in the 1700 timeline, 1 in the 1914 timeline, and right now I'm preferring the 1700 timeline. My only issue right now, which I think is going to be an issue the whole way through, is that Libby from the 1700s knows what happens with the Revolutionary War because she's in the 1914 timeline. But she can't change history and she has to be very careful what she does. And so that's just like the fact that she knows. And then her mom, who is also a time crosser, knows even more into the future, but chose the 1700s. And I'm just like, I don't know. This just seems really weird to me. And then kind of what happens when they choose a certain timeline, what happens to their life in the other one? I was like, no, I don't like that. So I'm struggling with the premise of it more than the story. If it wasn't the same character in both timelines, I'd probably be fine with both timelines. But the premise of her having to give up one and what happens to those people when she gives up, like she just disappears, right? But does she just disappear? Like, I don't know. Yeah. But we'll see. I am only 3 chapters into it, so we'll see. So I'm reading it on my Kindle and listening to it on Hoopla and kind of switching back and forth depending when I can read, when I can listen. So yeah, that is my plan for the rest of the evening. Well, it is Tuesday after work and I'm going to film in hopes that I can host reading sprints tonight if I can get this video done. We'll see. So the video I'm filming is my TBR game, but with a twist because I'm also doing Deck of TBR. So that will be out before this video if all goes well. So I will link it below. Okay, so last night I read a bunch more in When the Day Comes. Then I listened to a bunch this morning as I was getting ready, and I'm at 54%. I'm halfway through the book already on the second day. So it is going quicker than my last few reads have gone. I'm really struggling with the fact that it's the same character experiencing both timelines, and when she's in one, she's thinking about the other and discussing it with somebody, only one person, but it's still in one of the timelines, not in both. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know about that. And they're talking about like, be careful not to change history and stuff, but yet the one has something from the future in the past because she really liked it in the future. I was like, yeah. And there is one mother I really do not like. It was like, oh my gosh, are you really that vindictive? Yeah, she was. Just, oh my gosh. I do want to say I've heard people talk about one of the issues they have with this book. And while I don't like it, like what happened, I like that it was not described on what happened. So I was pretty pleased with that. Unless, of course, it happens again and maybe it's described more the next time. I don't know. But yeah, so that is my thoughts on When the Day Comes. So far, as I said, I'm halfway through. We'll see what happens. Okay, now I'm going to film. Very quick check-in because I got to get ready for sprints. I got my TBR video filmed. It didn't quite go the way I wanted it to go, but I'm okay with it. And since I'm reading the Booktuber recommendation, I don't want to tell the sprints until the video goes out. So I'm going to pick up physically Where Hope Begins by Catherine West. This is a recommendation from my best friend, but she read it like 9 years ago. I think it was 2017 when she read it. So we'll see. I'm not that excited about it, but maybe once I start, I will be. So chapter 1, My Husband is Leaving Me, is the first line. We'll see. Well, it is after sprints now, and just before I head to bed, I thought I would check in and let you know how I'm doing with this book. I read 79 pages tonight, just starting chapter 9, page 79. So I guess I read 78 because this book actually starts on book 1. And during the sprints, I also got some inspiration for a book tag from some of the people in the comments, kind of like, well, what about this? And I was like, oh, and then it just like the brain kind of clicked and it's like, oh, what about this? And so I worked on that during one of the sprints, which I hope to have filmed before this video goes up. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Might be later in the month, like later in July. So this book, I knew nothing about this book going in, pretty much nothing. I mean, I read the back cover at some point, but I didn't remember it. We are following Savannah, who is a woman who has been married for 20 plus years, I think 20 years. And her husband are currently going through a separation. Looks like they're going to get divorced. Something has happened, and that's where it's headed. They also lost a child a number of years prior to that, so that's kind of affected their relationship. And she's struggling, which is totally understandable. They still have 2 kids, a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. The 20 is in university, and the 16-year-old is off at a boarding school, which I'm not quite sure why, but whatever. They're in the States, and she Boston, and the 16-year-old is at school in New York. She has gone to the lake house to kind of get away, and we see her meet kind of the neighbor and kind of dealing with the neighbor, and it's an older character who's probably in her 80s. And then we have Savannah's best friend, Beth, who is just really supportive, but also like a moment of lightheartedness. And I really like the relationship between Savannah and Beth. I like that best friend that really supports and says things to make you laugh, but is also like very encouraging, that like you should pray for this person and stuff, right? Very encouraging. So we'll see. But each chapter begins with a little quote. And a lot of times I just kind of continue into the story rather than read the quote, because that takes me out of the quote. But I really enjoyed some of these quotes. So like during sprints, I would read one. Like, where's one that I liked? Life is never fair, and perhaps it is a good thing for most of us that it is not. Oscar Wilde. There are dark shadows on the earth, but its lights are stronger than in the contrast. Charles Dickens. Every man has his secret sorrows which the world knows not, and oftentimes we call a man cold when he is only sad. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So yeah, that's just a couple of them, a few of them, because that was more than two. But yeah, so I think I'm intrigued. I'm invested in this, in Savannah, and what's going to happen with her. I don't know. I wasn't looking forward to it, but it has hooked me already. But it also seems to have a little bit of a heavy theme and dealing with like grief and maybe the future not turning out the way you thought. So we will see. But I am going to put this down for the night and head to bed. Well, it is Thursday after work now, and it's kind of a dreary day. It almost looks like the sun's trying to come out. It has been raining pretty much all day. It's dry right now, so I didn't get wet getting in my car. And I am ready to head home. I did not check in at all yesterday because when I got home from work, Andrew said, I don't have to work tomorrow. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have to work tomorrow? He's supposed to be on holidays next week because the factory shuts down for the first week of July for like usually around the Canada Day holiday. And so I knew he was off next week. Well, they gave them Thursday and Friday as well. And I was like, really? And I have to work. I am taking a couple days off next week. I mean, obviously I'm taking Wednesday off because it's Canada Day. It's an official stat. So I'm not working Wednesday. But I will take another couple days. I just don't know what those days will be because work's kind of up in the air right now with planning and what days do I really need to be in, and depending on how much has to get done, right? So, which is fine because my work is very flexible. So that's good. So yeah. So reading wise, I have made it to 70% in When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. I'm really liking the writing style. I'm really liking the character, and I'm rooting for her in both timelines, and I'm invested to find out what's going to happen. What I've struggled with and what I really hate is that she's thinking about the other timeline when she's living in the one timeline. So she's always kind of there. And she's talking about the other timeline with a certain character in one of the timelines and what happens. And I'm just like, And then this other character, because they're also a time crosser, they know stuff from way more in the future than even the two timelines this character's in. And so she's telling her stuff, and I'm like, I don't like that. We're not supposed to know what the future holds, right? Or what's coming. And she can't fully invest in her life in the one timeline because she's thinking about her life in the other timeline while living the life in the one timeline. Right? Sounds a little confusing, right? I'm struggling with that aspect of it a lot. But I really like the writing style. So I would definitely be interested in picking up some of Gabrielle Meyer's other books that are not like a time crosser. I'd be interested to see if the same writing style, if I enjoy them. But yeah, so that's my audio read, and I have that on my Kindle. My library hold has not come in yet. I might be finished the book before it comes in, and then I'm back in the whole situation that I was with Raging Waters. Do I pick it up, just take it off the shelf and move it and put it in the Dropbox? Yeah, we'll see. But talking about library situations. So I filmed my July TBR with 2 books from the library to fill from the library prompt. I went to go put those 2 books on hold. One of them has now been checked out and is on hold until the end of July. And I'm like, wait, that's more than a 3-week hold that our library allows. What? And the other one, the physical copy is no longer in circulation. I was like, So the one that doesn't have a physical copy in circulation, I can get through Kindle Unlimited. So will that count from the library? I don't know. And I don't know what I'm going to do about the other one. I have put a hold request on it, so we will see. So I am also reading Where Hope Begins by Catherine West. I've made it to page 120-ish, I think is where I ended last night. I'm really intrigued with the character and the story and what's going to happen. And like, it starts with the husband and wife separating because the husband is being a bad boy. And that's very, very early on. You find that out. So that's not a spoiler. But now, like, the wife's trying to figure out, like, kind of how to move on. What's next for her life? And there's kind of options ahead of her, right? And then the husband is trying to fix his relationship with the kids. And then we find out something that, maybe what we think's going on with the husband isn't really what's going on with the husband. And can a relationship be repaired? I don't know. We'll see. Or does the wife take this other path instead? I don't know. I'm intrigued to see where this is going to go. So now I'm going to head home. I told Andrew, because he had the day off, he was responsible for supper tonight. And I know he was planning to barbecue. I'm not really sure because of the weather if he will barbecue because, as I said, it's starting to dry, but we're also under a thunderstorm watch. So we will see. Let's go home, find out what we're going to have for supper. Burgers it is. He might have forgotten he said he was going to barbecue, but it ended up getting done. So after work, when I got home, I continued listening to my audiobook of When the Day Comes, and I made it to chapter 25, 82% of the way through. And I'm like, I need to know what's going to happen. I need to know what's going to happen. Like, I am so invested, but I still have the issues that I've mentioned before. But tonight during M Sprints, I picked up Where Hope Begins to continue reading that physically so that I could save this for my audiobook tomorrow. But then I'm like, look, and I'm like, I have just over an hour left. So I'm so close to the end. I'm like, I don't want to save it. So, I mean, I've read 70, 80 pages in my book, which I left downstairs. But I'm ready to switch over to this book and finish it before I go to bed because I just need to know what happens to Libby. I didn't think I'd be that invested in it. But yeah, we'll see. It really bugs me that she's between the two, but yeah. So I'm going to read, and my hold for another audiobook came in today. So that's kind of an encouragement to finish this audiobook so I can start the next one, even though it's not part of my TBR. But yeah, I mean, it is, but it's not. Like, it's part of a goal TBR, but not for the month. But we'll talk about that after I start it, because right now I'm going to read When the Day Comes. Well, it is Friday afternoon and I'm heading home, but technically my weekend doesn't start because I got to come back for a meeting tomorrow morning. But I thought I'd come sit in my car to update you about the book I finished last night because it's much warmer in my car. I have the window open because it's a little bit too warm in my car than it is inside the building. Gosh, air conditioning is cold. Okay, so I stayed up and finished When the Day Comes last night. And no, I have not received my physical book from the library yet. So yeah. My thoughts. As I said before, I really enjoy the writing style, and I really liked both characters and kind of the situation they were in. I was rooting for them and wondering what was going to happen. Like, I really liked Libby. What I did not like about this book is that while she is living in one of the timelines, she is thinking about the other timeline. And it happens on both. Like when she's in 1914, she's thinking about 1775. When she's in 1775, she's thinking about 1914. And I'm just like, how do you live your life when you're thinking about the other life? Like, yeah, that really bothered me because she couldn't be fully invested in one. Then she makes a decision, she makes a decision that affects which timeline she is going to live in going forward. And I was like, okay, how's this going to go, right? What's going to happen? And then the way it wraps up, it seemed a little too convenient. And I mean, everything is impossible in this book with the time crossing and stuff, but the ending seemed really impossible. Like the chances of that happening, yeah. But I mean, the chances of any of this happening are very, very slim, right? So you really have to suspend belief in reality and everything for this book. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my rating's going to be. I'm so undecided. I'm so torn between it. I enjoyed my reading of it. I really liked the faith aspect. Because it's like, trust in God, God's plans. You might not be happy, but God has a plan. And you may eventually see it, or you may not, but know that you are in His hands. I really liked that message of it. Really done so well. So, I mean, for that aspect, yes. So, but because I'm such a realist in this world type person, that's where the fantasy aspect of the time crossing really took me out. And then how it just seemed like such a convenient ending. I don't know. I want to say 4. I don't know, because there's also this scenes, and there are 2 scenes where it happens within marriage that the husband forces himself on the wife. It is not described in detail at all. You know that she is thinking no, saying no, but it's also it doesn't seem like she's being very forceful on the no, but it's also, you have to base it on the time period, and kind of the situation that she's in, that she can't make a big scene, whatever, because they are married, and it's not described at all. But if you've had any type of trauma with that could be difficult because it is mentioned. And the way that God uses it for good eventually. But I would also like, the husband did seem repentive of it, but then didn't get a chance to show his true repentance. So if the path that he ended up on went a different way, would we have seen a change in him? Or would he have said sorry, but then done the same thing again, right? Like, I don't know. That's where I'm so tossed about it. So, yeah. So my rating is somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4 right now. I don't know. And this morning, I started the audiobook of Meant to Be Mine by Becky Wade, which is book 2 of the Porter family series. And I just really enjoy this book. It starts with a couple dating in Vegas. They get married. Then somebody regrets the decision the next morning. And then it picks up 5 years later. And now what's going to happen? I don't know. I really like these characters. I'm rooting for them. And I mean, I'm only 10% into this book, I think. Chapter 5, maybe. I'm not very far into it. I have read it. I know the story. I know what happens, but I don't remember the details of it happening. Like, I remember how the one person finds out what's happened in the last 5 years, but I didn't remember, like, how they found out about the other person's last 5 years. So we'll see. I don't know. I just remember enjoying this story. But yeah. Okay, so that is my reading right now. I'm gonna go home and see what the plan for the day is. So we picked up supper tonight at a Greek place in town. Friday night they have a 2-piece fish special. Then we add onion rings and a salad. But look at the size of these fish.
We're going to feed the 5,000 with our onion rings and the 2 fishes. Pretty cool, eh?
This will do us for 2 meals for sure.
Maybe more.
Well, like 2 of us tonight and 2 of us tomorrow. So we went out after supper to Giant Tiger, the Canadian department store that Andrew got his Snoopy and Mickey Canada shirts from. And because I wanted a shirt for a certain video that I am going to film tonight because Andrew's off to visit a friend. And I did not own any piece of clothing that said Canada on it. And I said to Andrew, well, I could just steal something from you. But he's like, let's just go take a look. And I got this sweater. And the sweater just makes much more sense for me because I'm always cold. I will get more use out of a sweater than a t-shirt. So it just made sense. They didn't have any t-shirts in my size. Out of all the shirts, they were picked over and the really large ones. So yeah, so I'm gonna put this on. But then when we got home, there was a package at the door and it was the shirt that I had ordered a couple weeks ago, I think. Just one more chapter. I just wanted another bookish t-shirt. So yeah, I say I get more use out of a sweater, but I really couldn't pass up the t-shirt. So yeah, I'm excited. The only thing is the inside is white, which is kind of weird. So I was thinking about rolling up the sleeves, but I wasn't sure with the white. So I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, now I'm going to film. Well, it is Saturday afternoon and I've come out to the deck to sit and read Where Hope Begins. Where Hope Begins. I thought I had the name wrong. I had a meeting at work this morning that was longer than what I've expected. So then I came home, had lunch, and now the sun is shining and I'm going to read for a bit. I do need to go to the library and pick up a library book because my hold came in from the book I finished. But I'm like, I'll go get it. And it's another whole Raging Waters scenario again. But I thought while I'm there, maybe I'll pick up a different book as well. Since I can't get the library book I was hoping to get for July, I'll just switch it with a different book for now. That's my plan. But now I'm going to read.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Yep. I thought I heard reverse for a second. Just thought if they're gonna be.
The goods have been acquired. Okay, we are back home now. So I picked up the 2 books from the library. They are both the Booktuber recommendations. This one had 15 votes, I want to say, and this one had 12 votes, so they were very close. And so I'm going to read this one to replace the Liz Tolsoma book that I cannot get from the library on my July TBR. Then I got a parcel because I ordered something with the Amazon Prime Days, a few little things, and Andrew is going to work on gluing my other shoes. And he wanted to use the cardboard, so he said, you need to open it. Okay, fine. I did wear my sandals to the library that he fixed, and so far they made it to the trip. So, okay. Some Nivea lip balm. I love the Nivea stuff. I haven't tried the yellow stuff before. I usually have the dark blue tube, but I thought, let's give this a try. It's vanilla buttercream, and it was cheaper than the dark blue by a couple cents. Then they had my foundation that I prefer on sale. This is the Maybelline Superstay. So got some of that. And then they had some makeup brushes on sale, and I really wanted a new concealer brush. So I decided to try this one, which I can't open. It's because it's taped. Oh my. Well, it's packaged really well. Like, talk about packaged well. It's like got a case on it and everything. That's kind of cool for travel. Huh. Well, I say that and now I can't get it closed again. We'll see. So yeah, concealer brush. And then I picked up a foundation brush. The Flat Top Kabuki. I haven't tried this brand, but looks a bit smaller than my other one, but so we'll give it a try. Just the hairs look a bit smaller, like it's a shorter head, I think. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of makeup brushes, then I decided to try as it's upside down, the e.l.f. Solid Brush Cleaner. Clean Queen Solid Brush and Sponge Cleaner. And I really wanted to give it a try because right now I'm just using Dawn dish soap, which works well, but I'm like, let's go something that's designed for brushes. So that is my little collection here. Well, after church today, we were talking, what are we gonna have for lunch? And then I was like, okay, we need to stop at the grocery store to pick up some tomatoes to have with lunch. So we've got a really random grocery haul here. So we did get the tomatoes. At least we went in and got what we went for. Then the bacon was on sale. So we're having bacon sandwiches, but we already had some bacon in the fridge. But because it was on sale, we bought 3 more packages to put in the freezer because we've been waiting for it to go on sale forever. Then we bought some sticks of butter. I decided to try the plant butter. I don't know, it was cheaper. So, then we got cream of chicken soup because then we also decided what we were gonna have for supper. And then we got some chicken breast. So yeah, so we're gonna have, this is gonna be for supper with some other stuff we have. And the bacon and tomatoes are for lunch. Not that bacon though, because that bacon's going in the freezer. But yeah, that's our really miscellaneous small grocery haul. Well, Andrew has decided he was gonna cook the bacon, so that works out for me. So I thought I would update you on the book that I finished last night, Where Hope Begins by Catherine West. I don't think I really gave you much of an update other than like the beginning of the story when I started it. As I got halfway through, I don't think I gave you an update. I don't know, honestly. So we're following Savannah, whose husband left her on that very first line. And then we find out kind of what led to that. There's a lot of heavy topics addressed in this. We've got the loss of a child, attempted suicide, the adultery, cheating between a husband and wife. We've got a terminal illness. Like there's a lot of heavy topics throughout this, but then there's also like redemption and forgiveness and can they move forward, like be forgiven for what happened in the past and move forward, and how do parents' actions affect the children. And so it's definitely a family story because Savannah and Kevin, who are the husband and wife, have 2 kids, Adam and Zoe. I'm like, what is her name? So Zoe is in college and Adam is away at school. He's 16. And so they're older kids, but not quite a bit older, right? So it's kind of like the family aspect of dealing with it. And as they're trying to move forward, they make a priority to have Christian counseling, and there's discussions of forgiveness and being repentive, and can they move forward past this, or like, do they go their separate ways? How do they deal with this? I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but I didn't like that, yes, they make Christian counseling a priority, but they don't seem to make God a priority in their lives. Like, it's mentioned, but not a lot. And kind of, we're talking about how we're dealing with, like, our actions affect those around us. And how does this, like, the parents' actions affect the kids, right? Like, I really liked that aspect of it, and I was invested, but I also felt like they let alcohol kind of be a vice at times for certain characters, not to like excessive drinking, but a lot of times it's like, okay, I need a drink, give me a brandy. And I was like, really? But I don't drink. So maybe that really obviously would play a part into my perception of it, right? So yeah, I liked it, but I didn't like it. I was invested in the story, and I really liked the way things wrapped up and the positive aspect of it and moving forward and choices that were made near the end, I really liked. There was also a part with like a guardian angel mention and possibly seeing, and I don't know, I didn't like that either. So I'm giving it 3 stars because there were parts I liked, but I think there were other parts that could have been handled better, differently. So yeah, that is my thoughts on Where Hope Begins. But I was definitely invested. I liked the writing style and the characters pulled me in. So now I'm going to start the last book that's on my June TBR, which is I Heard the Bells, which is a Christmas novella collection. I know Darlene L. Turner has a novella in this. It is 4 novellas, I believe. I've left my Kindle somewhere. I think it's upstairs by my bed. I think I gotta go look for it because I have this on my Kindle. So yeah, that is the book that I'm going to move on to. I am continuing to listen to Meant to Be Mine by Becky Wade. I'm really hooked on this story. I know kind of what happens, but I still really want to like continue listening to see what goes on. So I've listened to it as I'm getting ready in the mornings and stuff, but I'm trying not to listen more than that because I need to read the books on my June TBR. And now it's time for the Christmas novella. We're going to try a chicken and rice dish. Well, we'll see.
Well, at least you weren't chicken to try it.
Well, it is 10 o'clock on Sunday evening, and I thought, I better come in and do a closing clip to close out this vlog. So today I did read the first novella in the I Heard the Bells collection. The first one was by Darlene L. Turner. It was A Christmas Wedding to Die For, and we're following Adeline, who comes to Whitehorse, Yukon. She's been living in Toronto. She comes for her best friend's Christmas wedding that happens to be being held at her sister's ranch, like Adeline's sister's ranch. And Adeline has always had a crush on her best friend, who is Jamie Jo, but everybody calls her JJ. On her brother. And it turns out her brother has always had a crush on Adeline as well. But Declan and Jamie Jo's parents do not approve of Adeline because they're from money and she is not. Her family is not. Meanwhile, Jamie Jo has been receiving threats. And then somebody is murdered during like the wedding party, the days leading up to the wedding. And then Jamie Jo goes missing. So Declan and Adeline are trying to figure out what is going on. And then feelings start to get revealed. Now, it's a very quick romance because the whole story takes place in 3 days, but we do know that they have history together, so that didn't really bother me so much. And it almost felt like a locked room mystery because they also have a snowstorm going on, so like nobody can leave the ranch, so it's got to be somebody that's there. So it was interesting. I sort of had a guess on who it was, but I wasn't 100% sure or why. And so it kept me guessing, but it was a nice quick read novella. Yeah, it was enjoyable. Now I'm going to move on to novella number 2, which is A Season of Forever by Helena Smrek. I have no idea how to say her last name. Smrcek. I don't know. But it says it's a dual-time Christmas novella. And it looks like it's in London and maybe during the war because of the cover. I don't know. I doubt you'll be able to see this because it's black and white on mine, and then the light. So we'll see. But that is the next one I'm going to start. Okay, so that is going to be the end of this week's vlog. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this again this week. And it was a pretty boring week, I would say. We didn't do a whole lot. But yeah, that's it. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.